Okay, this is another episode for EGR 1710. We're going to look at first creating the necessary construction lines to make a part, and then we're going to look at creating the geometry itself in a future video. So here's the part that we're looking at. It's one we've been working on in class. The shape is shown there on isometric paper. We're going to look at a little more detail here, and specifically I'm going to start looking at the width direction. In the width direction, everything with of your line here that's highlighted with a 1 by it is on the left side of the part, which is what I consider width equals 0. Everything at line where there's a 2 is at width equals 1.25. The geometry changes at that width. Everything with a 3 on it is at width equals 2.0. The geometry changes at that width. And at 4, everything at a 4 is at the width equals 4 is equal at 4 inches, and everything there is on the right side of the part. We are going to need 4 construction lines for width at 0, 1.25, 2, and 4. Similarly, when we look at height, everything with a 1 is on the bottom of the part, which I consider h equals 0. Everything at 2, with the every line with a 2, is at h equals 0.75. And everything with a 3 is at h equals 2.0, which is at the top of the part. We will need 3 construction lines, one at h equals 0, one at h equals 0.75, and one at h equals 2 for the height direction. In the depth direction, everything with a 1 is at d equals 0 on the front of the part. All the lines with a 2 are at d is equal to 1 inch. And that everything with all the lines with a 3 on it are at d equals 1.75 inches. That's on the back of the part. We will need 3 depth construction lines, one at d equals 0, one at d equals 1 inch, and one at d equals 1.75 inches. Let's go create those in AutoCAD now. So here's my AutoCAD window, and let's drag this down just a little bit so we can see. And we're going to create construction lines. So we're going to start on our construction layer, and we're going to make lines. And I'm going to open up this draw window, and we're going to create construction lines. Let's pin that open so it stays open. I'm going to start, and I'm going to create a horizontal construction line for the bottom of my part. So I picked horizontal. I want the bottom of my part to be somewhere near the bottom of my drawing area. So I'm just kind of picking a point with my cursor, and I'll escape out of construction line creation mode. I'll go back into construction line creation mode either by picking construction line again, typing X line again, or I can use the space bar, which tells AutoCAD to go back and do the last command again. I hit the space bar. I'm going to make a vertical construction line for the left side of my part, and I'm going to make it near the left side of my drawing area. I don't need to pick on the existing construction line. I just pick a spot, and I'll escape out of construction line creation mode. I'm now going to move my user coordinate system to the intersection of those 2 lines that I just created. So I type in the command UCS. I am going to select that point right there. And when the little X comes on and shows me to pick the intersection, I will select it with the left mouse cursor and hit a return, or the Enter key, to move my user coordinate system to that location. Okay, so now I need width construction lines at 0, which I've already created. The left side of my part. I'm also going to need at 1.25, 2, and 4. So back into construction line creation mode, and I want to make vertical ones for the width direction, and I'm going to want them at 1.25 inches in the X direction. I'll put a 0 in for the Y direction just because. At 2 inches in the X direction, 0 in the Y, and at 4 inches in the X and 0 in the Y. And then I'm going to escape out of that. Those are the construction lines I need for width. I'll go back into construction line creation mode. Again, I'm just hitting the space bar. I've already got my h equals 0 line for the bottom right down here. I'm going to need the other height construction lines, and I'm going to need them I want them to be horizontal construction lines for height. And I'm going to want, the X value doesn't matter. The Y value needs to be 0.75. And for the top of the part, it needed to be, X doesn't matter, and Y needs to be 2. And then I'm going to escape back out of there again. So now I have created all the construction lines I need for the front, for the width, and for the height. I'm going to go back in construction line mode, and I'm going to pick the angle. I'm going to put 45 degrees, and I'm going to make my 45-degree construction line, and I'm going to pass it through the intersection of the right of my part and the top of my part. So that will be used to link my right side view and my top view together. For the depth direction, first I'm going to make a line for the front of my part, and it just needs to, for the right view, just needs to be to the right of my front view. So again, I'm going to go back into construction line creation. I'm going to make a vertical one, and I'm just going to pick a point here. It doesn't really matter. It's somewhere to the right of my front view. So now from a depth perspective, I need to make construction lines again. I'm going to hit the space bar and repeat the command. And I'm going to make vertical, oops, hang on. I don't want to do this. I'm going to move my user coordinate system, and I'm going to move it to the intersection of the front of the part, which I just drew, and the bottom of the part. Oop, didn't move. Sorry. Wrong button. So I come over here, I pick it, and I hit a return, and I've moved my user coordinate system over there. So now I'm going to make construction lines. I'm going to again make vertical ones, and I need them at a depth of, and we'll come down here. Where's my depths? I needed a depth of 1 in the horizontal direction, and 0, and I need 1.75 and 0. That was for the back of my part. I escaped out, and I'll hit the space bar to start construction line mode creation again, and I'm going to want horizontal through the intersection of my 45-degree line and any vertical line from my right view. This one, there's an intersection, and there's an intersection. So now I have all of the construction lines for width, height, and depth that I'm going to need. I'm going to create an outline box here just so that I can go back and check things later. I'm going to switch my layer to 0. We're going to get rid of this being pinned open. And I want to make a rectangle for my front view. And I can pick the lower left corner and the upper right corner. And I've made a rectangle for the front view. I'm going to hit the spacebar and tell it repeat making rectangles again. And from the bottom front of the right view to the top rear of the right view. And tell it to do it again. And this will be the front left of the top view to the right rear of the top view. So the green lines represent the construction lines. The white lines represent the outline that the front, top, and right view need to be contained within. In the next video, we'll look at making the geometry of that part.